How y'all doing today? Happy Wednesday, everybody. How y'all been, man? As you can see in the title, you know I'm gonna talk about Zach Edey and Ja Morant. But before I start that, let's get into this. I got to talk about. I want to touch on this first, right? Because there's this thing about the camera being in my face, and one, YouTube wants me to be on camera. Like in order for me to be a part of the partnership program, I have to diversify the production style. I would rather just do the audio all day long because that's my comfort zone. But I got to step out my comfort zone a little sooner than I expected to be in front of a camera. Now, me personally, I don't like being on camera because when I look into the camera, I get stuck. I get frozen. Not so much because I'm, bashful, but because I get caught up in looking at myself and then I lose the thought or the train of thought that I had in the conversation points that I was touching on, right? So it just so happened that when I put everything the way I got it now, the microphone is in front of me. So I don't have to glance at myself as much as much as other people do. Like I don't like looking into the camera. It throws me off. Now, for the people who have this thing like, yo, why you got the camera in front of yourself, God? Why you can't? You know what I'm saying? I just wanna gauge into your brown eyes while you talking. That's all. I wanna feel what you're saying. For those of you who want to look at me while I'm talking, you looking at the mic, nigga. You wild. You wild. I just want to gauge into your brown eyes. Why can't I just gaze at you? I want to see your face while I'm talking to you. For what? It's social media. Just listen to what I'm saying. Get the message. Vibe out. Let's have a good time. I like it like this. I enjoy it like this. It just so happens it worked out the way I wanted it to work out subconsciously. I don't want to sit here and look at myself in the camera. It throws me off. I can keep my flow better this way. So this is how it's gonna be. You know what I mean? Just respect the movement or move on. This is all I'm doing. I like this. And as I get more comfortable, it's gonna be. I like these. Listen, it is what it is. You know what I mean? If you've ever been an MC and been in the studio, you've been in the, you know what I mean? You've been in, you had the mic hooked up in the bathroom before. You know what I mean? The acoustics are great. You know what I mean? Especially if you got the perfect add-on. You know what I mean? Like I'm in my comfort zone. You know what I mean? Feel like Nas is like all over again. But yeah, this is what I'm doing. This is where we are. This is how we're gonna expand and grow from this point. But I just wanted to touch on that. But let's get into the bullshit. Let's get into the Zach Edey Ja Morant's conversation. Hit that like button and subscribe if you new. You already know who it is. Chev gonna say what Chev gonna say. We all have our different feelings about Zach Edey because a lot of y'all was trying to play my boy. Like he ain't the two-time National Player of the Year and go to the National Championship game and put up 30 and some change. Like y'all not respecting his gangsta at all. Simply thinking like I don't know what's going to transition when he gets to the NBA. What? Nigga? I don't know if he going to get drafted in the first round. I'm like, y'all are bugging. Ain't no what. First of all, two-time National Player of the Year, the best player in the draft. If not top two. That kid that Houston got is really good. I watched his pops play at Kentucky. He was good too. Shepard is good. I like his game. But my whole thing is it's like you just wanted to downplay somebody because he wasn't what the entertainment side of basketball deems a basketball player. The wing, the guard that shoots threes, and all that other shit that they're marketing to us. Telling you what basketball is when if you lived long enough, you know what basketball is. And a Zach Edey compliments whatever you're doing basketball related when he gets on the court. He's a dog. And now he's coming in as the ninth pick with a bone to pick with everybody who didn't believe in him. So he's 7'4", coming off of a 25-12 season, going to the national championship game, claiming his second national player of the year. Could have been national player of the year and defensive player of the year. You know, the Raptors got the National Defensive Player of the Year. Shout out to Jamal Sheed. You know what I mean? Jamal Sheed is starting to get, he's starting to adjust to the speed. Shout out to him. But Zach could have been Defensive Player of the Year too. You know what I mean? There's a large portion of his game that's going to transfer to the NBA. But it's just not. Y'all kids want to be entertained. They're going into the analytics. And the analytics are no longer real great talking points unless they're attached to the entertainment portion of the game. It used to be that the analytics and the numbers that say something will transition from one spot to the next was a strong intellectual property. Now it's no longer that. It's just a talking point that has to be connected to sports betting and in the entertainment portion of the game to be validated or to validate those points as well. But a lot of that stuff guys can bypass with just simple effort and having something to prove, having that edge mentally and emotionally. And Zach Edey has that. He hated the fact that people doubted him. I'm quite sure he hated the fact he wasn't the number one pick. And now he's paired up with Ja Morant. So if you're saying, oh, he's not that fast, Ja Morant is fast enough for the both of them. He's quick enough for both of them. He's so good that he's going to make Zach Edey's life lovely. You know what I mean? So they're going to be a problem together. Now, Jaren Jackson could be a power forward, which is another problem for the rest of the NBA to deal with, especially the Western Conference. And you're watching them in the preseason. He's throwing oops. Like you can't blitz and really attack Ja Morant when he goes to the basket anymore because all he has to do is throw an alley-oop to a 7'4" center who finishing is the easiest thing for him to do. Finishing with a magnificent, thunderous dunk that's the least he could do. He could also post up. He could also rebound. He could also rim protect. Listen, there's a lot of, his game is going to transition so well. If you're telling me Rudy Yogurt is a 4-time defensive player of the year, you trying to tell me Zach Edey can't function in the NBA? You got Jared Allen, who doesn't have a post-up game. We still don't know where Evan Mobley is at all. We got a bunch of centers who just, they're getting their participation trophy on. With the contracts, that participation paper. Everybody getting paid, but some guys want to perform and want to prove themselves. And when you got a guy like Zach Edey who wants that, and he's with a Ja Morant who also has to prove himself after only played 9 games last year, threw away a $38 million bonus because he wasn't all NBA, which he would have easily have been and could have been an NBA contender, MVP contestant. But, he got caught in the matrix, got suspended, and now he's back to prove himself as well. So now you got two guys who can play off of each other really well, who complement each other really well, who can both do their damn thing really well, on a team that was 27-55 that want to get back into that conversation in the Western Conference again. They felt like the Timberwolves took their spot. They listen. listen, that's a lot to unpeel. That's a multi-layered onion that you got to think about. And I think they're going to be fine, especially with them two playing together. Like, Ja Morant's going to demand so much attention that Zach Edey's life is going to be sweet. He's not going to have to really use his bag until someone's able to stop Ja Morant. Then you got Desmond Bane. Then you got Jackson. Like, he's a rookie. He's going to be able to develop his game in a timely fashion without having to be the man or develop into being the man. He got a bunch of veterans that can get busy. Who know what it's like to play well and dominate the Western Conference. Ja Morant got a lot to prove to himself and to the NBA. Like, listen, I'm back. We back on bullshit. What y'all want to do? And I think Zach Edey is on that same type of time. I'm glad they drafted him. Now I got another team I can watch. Now I can watch Memphis. Because I want Zach Edey to be successful. Not because people, didn't believe in him, but because a true guy, a true dominant player, you can't just keep celebrating guys who are relevant socially and basing everything off this mythical potential that guys have. See, when you're leaping from a lower space to a higher space, it looks like a higher jump. So it's a fantastic story because you have to overcome a little bit more than the guy who's closer to it than you are. Zach Edey is on another level. Like all the other guys in the draft, the leaps and bounds that they're going to take and the abilities that they're going to accumulate and the level of personal greatness they're going to acquire, Zach Edey already has done that in college. So the excitement is for him to go to the next level, which is a lot tougher, a lot daunting, because there's MVPs, all NBAs, all-stars attached to that conversation. And it's not a bigger leap because he's done so much of the groundwork in college, which is what I'm used to people doing. A lot of the groundwork and developing in college, which is what college basketball is for if you want to be a professional basketball player. We should not be watching you develop into a pro in the NBA. You should come in ready to be a pro on a pro level, just fundamentally, and then you exceed all the expectation within the professional realm from there. But a lot of guys are jumping from damn near high school, a year removed from high school, to sensational heights. That looks like a greater story, but is actually you're coming from behind a guy who's actually a lot closer to that greatness than you. And it might not seem that incredible because he didn't have to jump as far, but the groundwork was already done before he got to the NBA, which is what it's all about in professional realms of anything. You're not going to jump from high school to being a mechanical engineer. You're not going to jump from high school to being, you know, a a, a master plumber, or, you know, someone who can use a forklift, or a foreman, or an architect, or a physicist, or a psychologist. Like, you have to build your resume and build your skill sets in college and in an internship. You know what I mean? There's proper channels of training. In sports, they skip these steps because it's always going to be a young man's game, and catering to young fans, and the entertainment that comes along with youth seeing youth, and keeping it fun and having that balance is important. But you can't just completely always have the entertaining portion of it and not have the thing that makes basketball special, which is pure competition. If you don't have the adequate skill sets, you're not getting the best competition. You're not getting, you know what I mean? No matter how great a guy becomes individually, you still need a team and you still need a system, which has made me like, let's get into something else that I was thinking about while I was at work. Um, Making me rethink the Michael Jordan LeBron conversation and the LeBron Kobe conversation. You know what I mean? When people are saying LeBron is the greatest, I always put Mike ahead of him, and then Kobe is a close second. But Kobe was imitating a 35-year-old Mike, which I felt that way, but until Gilbert Arenas said, I was like, you know what? He's absolutely right, and I felt that way. He was imitating a guy that was already in his 30s. He wasn't imitating Air Jordan, the one that we saw in 87, dominate, 88, 89, built up to the championship guy that everyone knows and loves and buys the shoes. Um, we we forget how important the triangle offense is. We forget how important that was, right? And how they won with that system in three different places. Phil won in Chicago, Phil won in LA, and Steve Kerr won with Golden State with the same system. LeBron never really had a system, and he won four. So it kind of creates that gray area for that conversation. But I just wanted to put that out there. It's just interesting. You know what I mean? And I still have, now I really don't have a clear favorite. I don't know. I know I love Michael Jordan for what he represented and what he means to me. You know what I mean? Just like Magic and Bird. But that conversation could get interesting. You know what I mean? As we start to delve into it. But Zach Edey did everything correct. Going to college, he did everything he was supposed to do. Everything you want a college player to do, he did in college. Even Ja Morant was in school, what, 2 or 3 years? Like, you skip steps and you miss out on certain things, and then you have to regain those steps while the pro level is going on, and it's not going. That lifestyle doesn't slow up. That game doesn't slow up. That career doesn't slow up while you're developing the ancillary skills that you should already have already accumulated. Now you got to take time out to do that, and then catch up, and then utilize them in the whole 9 yards. It's just a daunting task. But a lot of kids leave those skill sets on the table. But when you have this guy, and he should have been the number one pick. Zach Edey should have been the number one pick. Because you're basing a lot of the other stuff off of potential. And the only thing that feeds that potential is the achievements that you had at the last level. If you have not achieved certain things at the last level, what are you basing your potential and the excitement off of? Getting eliminated in the first round of the NCAA tournament, not being an All-American. Some guys averaged 10, 12 points and went fucking top 10. You know what I mean? Like, how do you gauge that? Like, back in my day, I'm gonna keep it a buck. If you average 10 points a game or 12 points a game, not only was you going in the NBA, you might lose your starting spot to a freshman. You know what I mean? Like, that's I come from that era, and you just don't have that anymore. They're basing it off of social media impression. They're basing it off of how much money they're going to make off the entertainment value you have, not off of the pure competition and winning. Back in the day, you only really made money if you won. You weren't marketable if you did not win. No, you know what I mean? Fat Lever was dope. You know what I mean? Alex English was dope with Denver. Niggas wasn't marketing them like that because they weren't winning like that. They were good, but they weren't as dominant as the Lakers and at the time Supersonics. And then you had Phoenix, and then you had the Jazz. Like they weren't as dominant as those other teams. They were in the middle. You know what I mean? And you had to win to be marketable. Now you could have your own following. You can have your own impression socially, and as long as you're socially relevant, they can market that to the point where they can make all their money back, no matter how much they invest in you. And they don't even care about winning. As long as they're socially relevant, they're cool with the ebb and flow of that existence. Because everybody can't win a championship, but you making the money, that might be a win to the organization, just making sure they're in the black. But we'll see. You know what I mean? We'll see how everybody else pans out. But I believe in Zach Edey. He was successful at his last stage. He was injury-free at his last stage. He was impactful at his last stage. Let's see what he does at this one. I trust that he's going to continue to be successful. The fact that everybody, downplayed his achievements and his ability, you know what I mean, for guys who had who had half the numbers he had. Some didn't even have close to half of the numbers he had being drafted ahead of him based off of something other than true potential and competitive value. But he has a chip, he has a bone to pick, and he has a chip on his shoulder, and it's gonna be that way. Because that's how the NBA has pulled away from the big man. So now as a post player, he has to make his presence felt. And he's definitely gonna be better than Rudy Gobert. I think he's better than Rudy Gobert right now. Period. Like Rudy Gobert, and you have Jared Allen who got $100 million and he doesn't have a post game. And Cleveland should have at least went to the Eastern Conference Finals once with Evan Mobley, who they just gave a shitload of money to, and Jared Allen, and then Donovan Mitchell, and then another All-Star in the point guard Garland that they have is just one of them things that it's no real comparison. I think he's better. I think he has a better foundation. I think he has more potential. I think he's going to be a better complement to the player that he's playing with, which is Ja Morant, than those guys are to the guys that they're playing with, who are already all-stars. But we're going to see, though. We're going to see. But I'm looking forward to it. That first game was impressive. This was a great pick. If you're telling me that he goes to Memphis and you pair him with Ja Morant and they look real promising together, I'm with it. I'm with it. Incredible pickup. It's the right place for him to get there, improve himself, and then be on the proper timetable to take the starting spot and really be a factor in the West. I believe he's going to be in contention for All-Star, All-NBA, and possibly an MVP within 7 years. I give Zach Edey 7 years before he's a part of a real barring injury. I think he's going to be a part of some real surprising conversations to a lot of people. Tell me what you think in the comment section. Hey, Zach, get to it, baby. I'm watching you. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to watch a couple of the Memphis games. I got so many things I'm going to be watching this year. It's going to be fun. I'm excited. I can't wait for the season to start. Tell me what you think in the comment section. I'm out of here. Peace.